to be intentional. It can literally just be negligence. I don't understand you. You don't understand me. So I'd always challenge any man, if we're speaking to men, make sure that the way you're presenting yourself, what message am I sending to a woman, which are non-verbal? Forget about my words, because you can command someone to do something, but your actions can invite disrespect. What message am I sending about myself and what I stand for, who I am? If needed, I will use my words to articulate myself more. But the way I carry myself should set a certain precedence, and then the words will be extra. So I think disrespect is a violation of the essence of who I am, of what we've agreed we're doing.
Okay, the man them are coming strong with these things right here, because okay, everybody's bringing strong concordance breakdowns. Okay. Jay, talk to me, bro. Wagwan, what's disrespect, bro, for you? What's respect?
I think I'll give a very practical example, because what my brothers are saying is actually great from a theoretical point of view, from at the top level, kind of what is their foundations before we start looking at action. So I agree with Gus. But one practical example that I'll give that is quite common in today's world, that gets talked about a lot. The way I will put it, I will call it invasion of my space, right? And that's going to confuse a lot of people to think, what are you talking about, Jay? Let me explain. As a woman, you said you want me, let's say, to lead, etc., right? So you want me, let's say, on the right. That's my path. That's my lane. I'm on the right. You're saying you're going to be the polarity. So that means you're going to be on the left. That's your path. That's your lane. You're going to utilize your strengths here. Okay? As a man, naturally, we're going to continue going. We're going to continue to do what we need to do. But in this example of invasion of my space, as a woman, you could start coming over to this side, start telling him what to do, start stripping him down, start cutting him off, start dismissing him. You're leading with, you can do a better job, i.e. you're trying to be in his lane, in his space, even though you've actually asked him to be there. And in this context, he can actually be there. He can actually do the job well, right? Because it's not just the man has done something that's problematic. That's why. That's the easy conversation, right? That's the easy get out clause. No, what we all know as men here is that you can be a man who does his bits, but because of the conditioning, the identity, the personality, and the character that some ladies have, they're going to try and do this anyway. So then this is where we need to go back to how we are as men in terms of our boundaries, how we carry ourselves, how we communicate from day one is what I say, right? Leadership starts from day one. And it's some of these conversations. So if we're truly saying, you know what, I'm here on my right, I'm here on the left, and yeah, there's going to be some things that we come together mix. And sometimes, whatever the case may be, like your relationship, your marriage is yours, right? You build it how you see fit according to the word of God. But ultimately, where it's unsolicited, where there's an invasion of space, this is where the problem gets. In the same way, right? Let's look at it in reverse. For a man, I don't know what example to come up with right now, but if he now starts invading the woman's space and he's like, well done, you told me like you want me to be a certain way, I'm trying to be that certain way, but I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable. You're not doing your bit. So now your fault, we can't both be here. So now you're forcing me to go over here. It's the exact same thing. So this is where I'm trying to say, for the ladies, think outside the box than just what you think you're going through. Understand how it looks on both sides, because we can both do this to each other, and it happens all the time.
All right, man, them are coming strong. JR. I may know JR's answer. JR, what is disrespect to a man from a lady? I already know JR's answer.
Bro, what do you mean, bro?
Sorry, I'm prejudging. Go for it.
Before my plane even took off, you're telling me where I'm about to land, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, for me, I see disrespect as can be an action, could be a particularly personal, targeted word, phrase, sentence, and it's done with the intention of trying to attack. So for me personally, words of affirmation are very big. Like I try and give words of affirmation to everybody that I train or is a client of mine or even my family. So when a lady knows me personally, then her words impact me a lot more than the outside world. So for me, if she knows that about me, and then she particularly targets an aspect of my life, my career, my goals, ambitions, anything like that, with pointed, specific, personal critiques, criticism, or just being negative level of hostility, then I perceive that as disrespect. So it's not something that is universal where all men may feel what I feel, but for me personal, that's how I perceive it. And obviously there are times where I'm not perfect, so I may be disrespectful too. And the way that disrespect looks to her may be different to me. But ultimately, we need to minimize the level of disrespect in order to coexist. And I'm very big on trying to handle conflicts in a way which try to resolve it sooner rather than later, because when situations get inflamed, then more disrespectful things are likely to happen in the forms of words and actions. So that's me. I know you didn't know I was going to say that, Kojo. You too lie.
I definitely didn't. You're definitely right. Nah, it was good points though, bro. It was good points. Now, I love that, man. I love that that you guys have highlighted the different components of it. In terms of it could be a word, it could be an action. It can be that if it's public, it's different from when it's private. You kind of touched on different areas of when it comes to disrespect in that essence. Now, some of you guys were kind of highlighting the clip again, and I'm going to play it one more time before I ask my next question. So just, of course, the two people that have come on the panel, so you guys can also get acquainted with what we were talking about, just so you can listen to the clip again. All right.
I say this. If a woman doesn't respect a man, they need to let him go. Because where respect lies is where you can let a man lead you. Like, for instance, if I want to be led as a woman. In relationships, I'm more submissive. I have a strong personality, but I love the idea of a man leading me and a man like showing me and teaching me things. And that's what turns me on. That's what makes me feel good in my relationship. But I've been with men where I lose respect for them because I see them do corny shit or weird things that like are just like feminine or just I don't trust it. And when I been with those type of men, I realize like, okay, I don't respect you and I don't trust you to lead me. And where women stay in those relationships, and after a while, the man gets broken down in that relationship. And then that's when they start to say, oh, you're controlling me, you're doing this, you're doing that, because there's no respect there. And I feel like when a woman respects a man to lead, is when the relationship and the dynamics is balanced. You have to be with a woman who respects you, and a man has to be with a woman who gives that respect, period. If that's lacking in the relationship, it's not going to work, because then the gender roles are reversed and it's not a good look, period, point blank. So as a woman, if you don't respect a man, you need to leave him.
Fantastic. Now I've got a question. You know me, I'm the landlord, so I'm going to ask them. I have to ask questions that pay the rent. So I got a question. She talks about women not following the lead of a man because she maybe doesn't trust that man, etc., etc. I want to ask a question. I just need 1 minute answers on this one. Okay, it's a quick fire round of questions. Is that woman not following your lead because you're ugly? You got 1 minute to answer each person. I want to know, are the women not following you because you're ugly to her, really and truly, and she's disgusted with her choice that she chosen you? I just want to know that. I want to just follow you to put a question across. JR, going straight to you. Got a minute. I need to answer that question. Are the women not following your lead because you're ugly?
No, I don't think it's to do with being ugly. I think it's to do with trust, faith. Sometimes women don't believe in the man they're with. You know, you have your path, your goals, your aspirations, and sometimes the lady you're with isn't on board, isn't aligned with what you're trying to do. Sometimes she has a counter to what you're trying to do. And if you don't see that working out for you, then, you know, you hit that crossroads where it's like, do I follow my own path still, or do I try and lean into what she's saying? And then at that point, is she taking the lead or not? But I don't think it's because you're necessarily ugly. But then again, once there's a level of disrespect, like a threshold of disrespect has passed and continued, then some women will find you repulsive. They don't want to be near you. Don't want to hear a damn word you got to say, because she's lost that level of respect and attraction for you. So she ends up showing a lot of disdain, and then the arguments will continue to perpetuate the longer you stay. So I agree with Azar. I think, you know, yeah, I think she's right. Like, you know, if you don't respect your man, then why be with him?
I hear that. Thank you very much, JR. Please, guys, it's a minute. I really mean a minute in this one. I want quick fire answer in this one. You know what I mean? Yeah, quick fire. We're paying the rent on this one. Jeff, are the girls not being respectful? Are they not? They're not following the lead because madam are ugly.
No, I would say that, similar to JR's point, it's just really a lack of trust in the man's vision or leadership, or rather, it could be the fact that the woman in that dynamic wants to be the leader, wants to take that position, wants to take that role because she thinks she can do it better. That could be that. It could be the fact that she has been around other guys who have failed in terms of leadership. So as a result, she's now operating by way of survival, wanting to adorn that particular title of leader, meanwhile not giving the man the chance or the opportunity to do so because of fear of being let down again. So that could be that. But I will say this, though. If a man messes up 1 or 2 times, well, then that's when he becomes ugly.
Okay, all right. So he's still ugly, basically what you're saying. Thank you. Reformed by the blood. Are the women not respecting the men because they're ugly and because they're not cute? Is that why the disrespect is happening, sir? You got a minute to go on.
No, I'm not gonna say it because they're ugly, because with women, if you're ugly to them, you don't exist. So it's a thing where like you're not gonna get a chance in the first place. I think it's when I think the word the women use is when they get the ick. When they get the ick, that's when it goes downhill from there. And she said it in the video when somebody does some corny something, and they get the ick. Yeah, it's Kailas from there. That's my answer.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Gus, I know you're going to back me on this one. It's because they're ugly, isn't it?
Funnily enough, yeah, my point actually sounds like I'm backing you, but I'm not.
You see, I told you.
I agree with you, but not in the way that you're asking it, right? And the way that I mean it is this. It's not only like when you look at life, it's not the best looking guys who are married or taken, and then the ugliest guys are always perpetually single, which tells me good looking guys and less good looking guys are all getting wins. So when you look at women, a lot of them are attracted to men based on traits that are beyond looks. That's something that we know to be factual. So I mean ugly in the sense that whatever you're doing, like that woman said, if you're doing stuff that's feminine, that's according to her metric. Then it doesn't matter if you're good looking. If you're doing feminine stuff and she wants to see man, then you are ugly. So I was going to say is, if what you're doing and who you are is ugly to what she defines as manly, then yes, that's why women are not with you, because to them, you are ugly in the way that you're moving. So you need to figure out whether you're going to go with their metric and figure out whether their definition of masculinity is based on toxic standards and you're not going to adhere to it. But if it is healthy, maybe you're just not the guy, which is also fine because you only need to marry one woman, depending which culture you're in it. But I'm Christian, so it's one woman.
I definitely hear that. Jay, I know at least one of you guys are sensible enough to back this point. It's because they're ugly. It's because they're not cute. They don't dress well. The physical appearance is very important. Talk to me, bro.
There's a rapper in the UK who had a song, 8 years ago. So tell me if you remember these lyrics, yeah? She love an ugly man making pretty money. And I'm an ugly man making sexy money. and I just want to get friendly with her. You know that song, right? So the point there is, he's saying he's ugly, and I think most people would say he is. But you see the types of women that he usually gets, and it's because of how he carries himself. How he carries himself as a man. I'm not saying it's perfect at all. Like, you know, there's things out there. We don't know what his lifestyle is like, but there's something about him that seems to be attracting a certain type of woman. So that's where I say, is it automatically going to be a thing because you're not conventionally attractive? No. However, what we do know is that there are some out there who genuinely are not feeling you. They genuinely feel like they are better than you. Genuinely feel like they can do better. And naturally in that way, the disrespect can show from the beginning or quite early. They can be quite dismissive of you. This does actually happen. And as friends, we usually hear about this afterwards. He wasn't really my type anyway. Wasn't really feeling him. So this is where it's the yes and no. It just depends on the situation.
Thank you for at least giving some sensibility. It's because you're ugly. I told you. Some of you are ugly. You just have to accept that you're ugly, and that's why you can't get no submission out of her. You know what I mean? That's why you can't. She won't follow your lead because you're ugly. She doesn't want to listen to you because you're ugly. She wakes up and thinks to herself, "What have I done to myself?" You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah. But all jokes aside, there's a little video I wanted to play for you guys as well. All right, because you know, as much as I was joking, I want to play something for you guys. Here's my little clip.
For sure.
You know?
I was like, me, never.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
All day you respected it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
I was like, me, never.
What's your name? What's your name?
Emma, what's your name?
King. Oh, let me
About to make people hella mad.
let me put that in there right quick.
Very fucking mad.
Who gonna make you mad?
I don't know. Wait, is next? No.
You better be worth making people mad as fuck.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, have a good night, bro. All right. All right, bro. All right. That's an OD clip.
Like I said, some of you are ugly, and that's why you're not getting the respect. That's why you're not getting respect. Some of you are ugly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you that you're not good looking enough to get the respect. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You think I'm lying to you. Now, Amanda, what do we think about this clip? Actually, as Alice, we're all shaking our head. Why are we shaking our head? Why are we acting as if I was lying earlier on? I don't understand. I told you the truth. I told you the truth. You get what I'm saying to you? Yeah? Now, Gus, your head was doing the most. What's going on? Talk to me.
Bro, that video, yeah, I had to make sure it's not AI. Like, the thing that got me, yeah. So this guy, I've seen him online a few times, and I know what he does, and he's doing the Lord's work in a weird way. But I would say he is because, bro, he's saving a lot of people heartbreak, right? Because you're realizing what's going on. But the fact that the guy spotted him at the end, brother spotted him at the end. He said, "Have a good night." He spotted him. I'm like, bro, this is exactly proves the point that woman in the previous video was saying. That spud proves that you're a waste man, right? And that's probably why she had the confidence to do that. That's just the bottom line. That spud, what he doesn't realize is he's probably been doing spud behavior way before this action. So that spud, I'm sure when she sees it online, even she'll cringe and she's gonna be like, "See, this is why I'm justified. So I'm justified in doing what I'm doing." So I don't think being treated badly and being cheated on is good. But as a man, if you're moving like this and then bad things happen, you have to take some accountability and say, "I didn't deserve it, but I was asking for it at the same time."
I hear you. Like you said, people, don't be ugly. Reformed by the blood. Some of us are not 6'8", so talk to me.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. I think that helps a lot. I mean, like I've seen him. His name's King, I think. He does this a lot. What I realize from women that usually go to him, or they leave their boyfriends for him, or he gets attention from women without even looking at them, right? He's got a certain stature about him that, yes, he's tall, but he carries it well. He's very good looking, and he's very confident. Confident to a point where women are literally falling over themselves for them to get his attention. Do you get what I'm saying? And you know when women are trying to get your attention, you made it. You made it. So it's a thing where I think the thing that grabs a lot of them is that the way he carries himself. A lot of the time, he's very calm, collected. He just goes with what he's doing, whatever he's doing, whatever he's streaming about, going to a basketball game, going to this event, that event. He just carries himself in a very calm manner. And obviously, the initial attraction is there with a lot of women. You can't deny that. His height, of course, he's going to be taller than most guys anyways. So they're going to see that. But again, what grabs them, and there's another guy called Duke Dennis. I don't know if you guys don't know Duke Dennis, but he's not as tall as King. But again, the way Duke Dennis carries himself, you have so many women falling over for him because of the fact that he's of his stature, what they know that he does, and everything else around it. So yes, the attraction goes a long way. However, the way you carry yourself as a man goes a long way. So as Gus said, when a man is spudding you after he just took your girl, I'm a Christian now. Anyways,
I hear that. Jay.
Can't take my girl, bro. Can't be spudding me. It's not gonna happen. Because you know why? She respects me, that's why. But yeah. You know what's funny? I think King's content, everyone's content, who kind of does similar things. And I would say it's a certain type of girl that is going to be susceptible to that. Because if she truly respects you, she's not really going to entertain that type of stuff, right? In general. And I think that comes with how we pick, and then obviously how we lead in our relationships, or if someone is married. But she's even messaging me now saying she definitely respects me, right? She's laughing, so she's watching this. So, but what I would say is that when it comes to King, one of the things that we know from a teenager is that there are certain guys who just get a certain response from women. And for the ladies that's listening, right, what I'm gonna say, I know you're gonna say you see guys doing this, but if you're good looking as a guy, trust me, you will also get ladies who are walking with their man, who will be staring at you, looking at you, lusting after you, doing things that they shouldn't be doing that are inappropriate. So it does happen. It actually does happen. The context is, does everyone do that? No. But we can't sit here and say it doesn't happen or be defensive over it. Trust me, it really does happen. So Mrs. making me laugh. It really does happen, right? So yeah, I think so. To answer your question, bro, it does happen. It does happen. If you are unattractive in some sort of way, there is a demographic of women who will disrespect you. Oh, quickly, one last thing. We've all watched Pop the Balloon. We've seen a clip or we've seen an episode. The 3 times a man gets disrespected, regardless of what he looks like, is if he says something reckless, or if he says he's not attracted to a woman who thinks that he should be attracted to her. And the other one is if he's damn ugly. Because trust me, they will tell you a new one. They will talk about what you're dressed like. They'll talk about what you look like. They're not feeding you.
This is why I said, when you're ugly, disrespect happens. See, I wasn't lying to you. See, you guys were laughing, but I was telling you some wisdom. Jeff, talk to me, Kez. Man, I taking man's girl because man not looking that nice. Yes, what's happening?
Yeah, that was mad. How the man fixed to literally take that spot when the man literally just took your girl. Shows that you got no respect, no backbone, and yep, how you carry yourself will determine how you're respected. So definitely ugly. Call it what you want. If a man is ugly to a woman, she does not exist in that guy's world at all. He is basically nothing, and there's nothing that he could do to actually There's nothing that he can actually do to actually become more attractive in the eyes of the woman. The only thing that he should do is find someone that actually finds him attractive. Point blank, period. That was just mad. Like King, that's the thing. He knew he could do what he could do. He could do it with impunity because he believes in himself. He believes in his source. He's confident how he carries himself, his character, his aura. Because the thing is, you find that there are 5'7" guys who are able to get girls, and they don't have to do much to do it. That's just how they carry themselves. They believe in their own source. And you have 6 foot guys who are literally timid as hell, and yet they are not even being seen that by other women. So really, it comes down to the fact that, yeah, if your attraction level doesn't even meet the barometer of the woman, there's nothing that you can do. So yeah, that was just a mad one. Mad.
JR, talk to me because I got another clip loaded up for you, man. And it's gonna open a discussion for Raw this time. I'm gonna put my ugly quota down and talk Raw. But yes, JR, you're the last person on this. 6'8", stole a man's girl. Man spotted him. It's tight right now. Talk to me, bro.
Yeah, well, she clearly don't respect her man to even do that in his face in the first place. King 6'8", he doesn't have to do much. He's 6'8", and there's a lot of superficial women out there that will just gravitate towards him simply because of his height. He doesn't have to say anything, doesn't have to approach, nothing at all. They don't know how his personality is. They don't detect nothing. They just see the height and they want to be noticed by him. Some of them have even seen his socials and seen how many followers he has. So he has influence as well, which is also attractive. So I think for the guy that the boyfriend or whatever, man, I would hate to be him, because that conversation after giving out her digits to this guy and then walking off with her afterwards, like that conversation is going to be mad. You know, if he ain't trying to break up with her, then I don't know what he's doing, because like, as we all can establish, that was very disrespectful, and she just wants to be on that guy's roster while she got her own stuff going on with her man. It's terrible behavior. So yeah, she obviously doesn't rate her man. She finds him weak, and weakness is a sign of weakness can give girls the ick very quickly as well. So if you're strong in your personality, your character, then it's not always about aesthetics. But if you've got like 2 or 3 or 4 things that women find attractive, then you'll definitely get a pass. And that's what King 6'8" does. He's tall, he's calm, composed. He don't have to say nothing. Doesn't have to offer to buy no one nothing. You get me? He doesn't need to simp, doesn't need to approach. So he's fortunate, and he definitely capitalizes on the attention he gets from the amount of women that give it to him.
Everyone's spoken on this little aspect, isn't it? 5 minutes clip. Yeah. So it's interesting because I know you just mentioned JR that he is 6'8", and he is 6'8". So I don't think it's anything about being 6'8" that makes it any different in terms of disrespect. The reason why I say that is because if you've been in the game long enough, you know there has been women that have been disrespectful to their man, and you are not 6'8". Like, you know, like disrespect is universal. You get me? 6'8" is just touching another echelon of women in terms of looks wise that are gonna do that too. But you have your own market that the women there too, they can be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying to you? And I think it's important for the man them who are watching this outside, because what it looks like is like, oh, it's because I'm not saying you were saying it, I'm saying it in terms of what I see a lot on the rep pill space. He's 6'8", and so he can get the girls that he wants. But it's like, if you were 6'8", you probably wouldn't get those girls anyway. Like somebody said, his confidence, his aura, the way that he moves, the energy that he brings to the table, this makes women want to draw towards him. He's using all the artillery to its best use. You know what I'm saying to you? And another man can never hate on the man's grace and faith that he has to be able to utilize the giftings that he has. You know what I'm saying to you? Everyone's got their own measure of grace and favor and faith as well. So you got to use what tools you have as a man, rather than looking at another man and be saying like, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a little bit cooler. Like, nah, focus on you and use the artilleries that you have. Maybe you can only get one girl. That's your market, my brother. You have to be blessed enough to accept it. That's only got one girl in the market. So trying to get to other man's market, blood. You get me? You haven't got those skills. So now I've got a clip for you guys, because I think this will open up conversation about what I mean by this topic around disrespect. And I'm sure we might get some eclectic opinions, because I think it touches on a few areas that are interesting. You get what I'm saying to you? So I'm going to play my next clip for you guys. For those of you in the chat, if you're in the room, listen, make sure you guys are signed up to our Landlord YouTube. There's a link in the description. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel as well. If you're new here, this is a men's panel every Tuesday night at 8:30. We're kicking it off with men-only conversation. We need a safe space for the man-dem with sensible voices on the internet, because I'm sick and tired of unbalanced man-dem voices that whinge, moan, and cry about every single thing, including their own choices that they made themselves, and they want to blame women for it every single time. Okay, at some point, you need to be accountable. and you got to hold yourself to that account. You know what I'm saying, Chu? It'd be like watching Premier League and then the team always blaming the fact that someone's got oil money. We're tired of it. Man City are just good. I can't hate on them anymore. All right, listen, let's get into this. Although they lost today, so I'm very happy to Bodo Glint. All right, cool. So my next clip for you guys around disrespect. Let's play.
Things to me in the past, and I really took it to heart. I couldn't understand why you would.
Hold on now. Let me. Sorry, my bad.
Understand why you would say the things that you would say, right?
Let's hurt people.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Thing.
For years, you tried to communicate how you were feeling. Like you wanted me to see your pain. You wanted me to understand your pain. And because I wasn't open to empathizing or putting myself in your shoes, you went from wanting me to see and understand your pain to wanting to inflict pain. Because when somebody trying to get you to see them, they're trying to get you to understand what they're going through and how bad it's hurting them, and you continue to turn away from them. You don't want to listen. You don't want to take accountability. Then your partner starts to inflict pain. They start to do things to hurt you. They start to say things to hurt you. That doesn't mean that the things that you were doing were right.
Right.
But I had to understand because we didn't start like this.
Right.
Nobody makes this type of drastic change for no reason.
When you get into those moments where you're just hashing out just blows left and right to just hurt your partner, you have to really sit back and think to yourself, is this what I wanted when I went into my relationship? Is this what I wanted when I went into my marriage? Like, this is not what I seen for myself. I didn't decide that I wanted to marry this man to hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him to feel heartbroken or upset because of my words or my actions. I don't want to add that extra pain to this person for what? I want to love them. I want to take that pain away.
Now, I have a feeling we're going to have some eclectic thought processes on this. Because I know that as I was listening to that, I said, get the frick out of here. A part of me said, get the frick out of here. A part of me said, get the frick out of here. But another part of me also said, I can understand the psychology of how we got to here. All right. So I want to know your initial thoughts before I ask my directed questions in terms of this clip and talking about disrespect. I want to know your thoughts, unfiltered, how you saw it yourself, what you picked up. Because again, it's your perspective that we're bringing into this, so we can have this discussion as well. Okay. All right. JR, I'm gonna go to you first. JR, I trust JR. I know he gonna swing, but he ain't gonna miss. It's not because I'm ugly this time. Go for it.
Liberties. Yeah, no, I actually can get what they were saying in that clip. You know, I don't think the intention was to come into the relationship disrespectful, but over the course of the relationship, things happen. You go through peaks and flows and valleys and all that stuff. And sometimes it pollutes the relationship to the point where disrespect just continues to happen. So I could kind of see where the clip was coming from. I could relate to that.
So basically, you're saying you cussed your girl out when she was also not giving you what you needed. Is that what you're trying to tell me? It's all right. No worries. Thank you for
No comment. No comment.
Okay, I get you. Don't worry. We hear you. Jeff, you cussing like your woman as well? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, never.
Okay.
Reason being is that if that it just means if your first point of contact is to wanting to hit below the belt, I have to question how long you've been wanting to do that for. Disrespect doesn't just come out of the blue. It doesn't just come out of the blue like that. So I understood what they were saying. Like obviously over the course of history, over a period of time, you know, lack of communication, proper communication led to, I guess, the point of diminishing returns where they're now tearing at each other, but you don't just have a disrespectful disposition doesn't just happen out of the blue. You have to have it within you to even say something like that. If you feel the need to want to be disrespectful, to go below that belt, it's just something that it's now just coming to fruition. I believe it's a matter of, you know, suppressing that inner part of you and now it's just come out as very aggressive. So that's what I think.
Man said it's always been in you. I hear that. Gus.
This needs a little bit of time. I'm not going to take all the time, but
you good, bro? Yeah, go.
The good thing, the first thing that came into my mind is this, like, and when it comes to things that like this, I like to go back to the scripture. So for me, the Bible says, where there is no vision, people perish. Where there is no vision, people perish. That's just something that the Bible says. So your vision, which is what my expansion now, your vision determines which actions are valuable and which actions are not. And everyone's vision is different. So as a man, you have to analyze, if my vision is X in terms of how I want to live, my mental health, the environment that I live in, the house that I have, the relationship I have, this is the vision, this woman's behavior that I'm experiencing, whatever it may be, what risk does it pose to the vision? And that determines what people will deal with. So if his vision, if he feels as if I can handle this, this doesn't really impact the end goal, well then, bro, different strokes for different folks. Like maybe he can handle it. There's someone for everybody. She's certainly not for me. I would have kicked her to the curb in the very beginning because I'm like, bro, the disrespect and being treated badly for years is not beneficial to anybody's storyline. So I would say, brother, man, as much as I don't like to judge people's relationship, I don't believe this is the best that God had for you. Let me put it that way. However, you still made it through, right? Which is what grace is for. So I'd probably say for as a man, what is your vision? And then analyze the woman's behavior. How dangerous is this for my vision? If it fits with your system, hey, that's your cross to carry. If it doesn't, bro, there's plenty more. Just go and look for another one. But understand that every woman will have problems. So don't look for perfection either. Otherwise, you'll be single, man.
Oh, I hear that. No, not me thinking that Gus is going to agree with my perspective. Here's me thinking I should make it worse. You know what? I'm going to add more chaotic sentences next time. Reformed by the blood. I'll come to you, Jeff, after I've gone to everybody. Reformed by the blood.
I'm going to be real. You know when Dr. Brian does a lot of word salad? That's all I was hearing. You know when people are trying to, oh, do you know what? I see the disrespect, but where does it come from? Where's the root of where it comes from? Maybe it was me that caused you to disrespect. Lawe, let's actually be honest. Where disrespect is disrespect, yeah? Sometimes it does come from certain things where, okay, from the past, or it's brewed up somewhere. But if this is your partner, right? And your partner is disrespecting you in this certain way, why was this line crossed, and why did you allow it? Again, a little bit like what Gus said, is that if you've allowed this to happen, then there must be a point where you've it's not really that deep to you at first, and you've let it drag along. So then I look at you as your character. Like, where's your standard? Where's your boundaries? Did you make it even clear? Was that? And then where's your self-respect? So you can, and it doesn't have to be self-respecting. Oh, I'm just gonna walk out now. But it can be certain things of, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna tell you that. Cool. If you're not doing it, then I'm gonna take these certain actions, and in a respectful way, to portray the message to you. I'm not that guy. Maybe you can do this with other guys, but I'm not that guy. So that's my initial thoughts of it.
Okay, I like it. I'm hearing everybody. I like everybody's points actually, because like I said, you all have your own perspective, and it's interesting to see different perspectives coming from different angles as well. So it's actually interesting to hear the different perspectives. I actually love hearing it. Jay.
So although he says effectively that he understands where it came from, I think we can all hear the way he's speaking, and we can see that he's still affected. However, how many years it's been, we can still see, however the communication was at that point in time, it didn't change the fact that he's been cut deeply by it. Now I watch his content, you know, both of them are great. You know, he's the type of person that'll be on these panels as well. He's a great guy. Do you know what I mean? So we ever find ourselves in America, definitely, let's try to link up or something. But you can still see he's still cut by that. And how he just spoke, I'm not saying he hasn't communicated with his wife, but you can see by her response, she was taken back a bit. And which leads me to say, probably when he was communicating about it, he was being a nice guy about it, instead of actually saying, deep down in my heart, you really hurt me. Ladies, Uncle Jason is coming to the stage for a bit just to talk to you, okay? When your man truly, truly loves you, in the same way, the way that he communicates with you, and if he's communicating harshly, it's going to cut deep. Please understand, just because he is a man doesn't change that he's a human being. His heart is also going to be cut deep. And there are times where sometimes, ladies, you might feel like maybe the man's getting onto you, or, he's saying that you're doing things wrong too many times. Pay attention to what Gus said earlier. There are a lot of men out there in their wisdom, in their leadership, who will understand, if I allow this character, personality, this excuse, whatever it is, to continue, it's going to derail the journey. It's going to derail the ship. Because if you bring it back to the prompt, the more he allows that disrespect and that whatever way of talking, the more it's going to increase, and the likelihood the relationship is going to go down the toilet. Hence why when a man stands his ground and he advocates for himself, as much as it may not be comfortable in the moment, she will eventually say, I respect him more. I love him more. She might fight you in the beginning. That's completely fine. It happens. It happens. But you can see at the end of it, it's going to pay way more dividends than just zipping your mouth and just letting it happen. So I say all that to say, whether you're a man or a woman, there's no excuse for it. Disrespect is disrespect, and it's going to cause what it's going to cause. But what I do like, I think I wasn't married at the time, but what I do like is that at least it seems to be what his understanding of it was a solution that stopped her being that way. We don't know. We don't know. I mean, this is just a clip, right? We don't know what happened in the relationship, but at least it's a way for all of us to be able to see, okay, they've come out on the other end. Because in most situations, like Gus is saying, it don't turn out that way. Someone has to walk. If not, someone is going to be triggered enough to, let's just use the term escalate, and where the escalation goes, we hear about DV, we hear about cheating, we hear about this couples being abusive in a toxic relationship. This is some of the startings of it. So please communicate early to avoid these things happen. But we're all human beings, right? As JR said earlier, sometimes we're all going to do certain things, say certain things. Listen, just communicate and be ready to be accountable and apologize and move on in prosperity from there.
Mm-hmm. I definitely hear. So this is, like I said, this is very interesting. I think when I watched, it was in my saved TikTok file for my videos and stuff, right? So when I was looking for it, I saw this video, I was like, let me just quickly listen to it. I listened to the first few seconds and I said, what am I hearing? And I said, in my head, I said, you know what? Yeah. I also agree with you guys. I understand what he was aiming at in terms of recognizing his part in the construction of why she got to what she got to. But like you said, I also saw that he hadn't got over it. And it looked like old girl wasn't even remorseful. And that's when I said, bro, and again, I'm not judging a man's relationship. I'm just looking at what I can see in front of me. It's not looking good. Because when a person gets up, and this is anyone, human beings in general, when they don't have a look of remorse, but more of almost like I was justified in what I did. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like I was expecting to be like, yes, I did say that, but you know what? I really regret those moments. I was expecting a quick come up behind it, like, no, I really regret those moments. She don't regret nothing because she got the result she wanted, and that is actually your biggest pitfall as a man. That this is where you get done dirty, because when someone breaks the process of going through the proper channels to get a change of behavior, you are going to suffer in the end as a man, specifically, right? Whether the relationship suffers or you suffer at the end, the proper channels are you talk to me and you explain your point thoroughly and we get a conversation going. Now, if he's not listening, of course, then she would be viable to then have walked away, whatever she did, she needs to do she needs to do as a healthy way of dealing with relationships. I'm saying that because for me personally, I grew up on the ends, and the one thing that we developed was a sharp tongue. So if I go into this space, I promise you, I'm nuking you, your mom, your granddad, your great uncles. I'm bringing them all in. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like, I never want to go to that place because I know how dark it can get. So if I see that you're doing that to me, I'm asking myself serious questions because I've already laid the law about certain things, especially as an African. I don't like things like foolish, dumb, stupid. Those words are trigger words even. Don't even get to F yet. Just say stupid, dumb, idiot, fool. Those words alone are like class B drugs. You get me? We haven't got to class A, we're on class B. So immediately I'm on it, bro. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So I think that sometimes your tolerance also becomes a very thing that ends up killing you, because in something where you should have said something in the very beginning and said, hey, look, I can hear what you're saying, but what you're saying to me, the way you're saying it to me is showing a lack of respect for me. You know what I'm saying to you? And if you want me to hear you, there's a way you gotta say it as well. You get me? Gus, I'm gonna go to Jeff and then I'm gonna go to you, Gus, after. You got to go after, yeah? Jeff and then Gus, and then whoever wants to jump in after this, by all means, please jump in after. Yes, Jeff.
You know what? Now, as you're talking about it, Kojo, I'll go be honest. As much as I did appreciate the honesty and transparency of what the guy was talking about, a part of me was thinking it was very performative, though. A part of me was thinking that he was, I guess, trying to, of course, present the whole conversation as them being accountable, him being accountable for his actions, and by not being honest and communicative. But I also thought this is what happens when people misunderstand the meaning of grace, because accepting disrespect is not grace. It's not grace. It's actually you being passive in mercy, because grace is meant to be something that is transformative. It's under the premise that someone can actually change, but it's like when a man tolerates disrespect, whether it's to keep the peace or whether it's from a place of, fearing how the woman is going to respond to him, all he does is teach the woman how to treat him. Because if he doesn't respect himself, why should she respect you? Why should you he has no leg to stand on any morality. And in fact, him doing what he did, it was inauthentic to himself. He became performative. Like, he's got no principles, doesn't really care about his sense of worth, because he's basically given it to the woman to basically do whatever that she wants with it.
Oh, go for it, Gus. Sorry. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, very, very quickly. I was going to say, linking back to the previous conversation, you can see that this guy, he's not a small guy either. Like, if you look at that previous video, the guy was not a small guy. By my estimations, he looks way above average in terms of size. But you see what he's dealing with? So as men, bro, forget about your size. I'm going to get this and I'm going to get that. Then I'm going to assert dominance. Respect is given. It's not taken. You can't take it by force. If it's someone doesn't rate you, they don't rate you. So try and figure out what the metrics for that person is and then see whether it works with you. And number two, kind of like, backing up what Jay was saying, bro, the Bible again. I go for these topics, I have to quote some scriptures. For the women, the Bible says, with her hands, a woman builds the house, but with her mouth, she destroys it. So even for them, women who have a lot of like mouth going on and it's just not on a leash, and I'm not saying this in a sexist way, like women have to be quiet. Men also have to check what they're saying. When you find people who are spewing anything, and I don't mean at you directly, the trait is the trait. They will do it to other people and you'll be treated nicely when you're dating. But when you're married, guess who's in the house? It's just you and her. Where's that trait going? Has to go to you. So don't celebrate women who are out here talking loosely. Oh, but she doesn't talk to me like that. Bro, when it's just you, it's your turn. Forget about people who yap like that, period. It's just a bad trait, period. It's like, it feels dumb, right? Because when you think about it, it's like a woman saying, this guy seems like he cheats a lot. No, but not on me. Like, when we're friends, he never cheated on me. Yeah, that's because you're friends, bro. But if that's what he does, when you're in a relationship, you're the one who has to receive it because you're the girl now. So, bro, the trait is a trait.
Right. Two things. Like, this was the first time I'm watching the video. The woman sitting next to him, I didn't even know that was his wife. That's how bad it was. I didn't even know it was his wife. I thought he was talking about somebody else until later on in the video, I was like, oh, that's his wife. So back to what Kojo was saying. She did not seem any remorseful at all. So that makes it even worse. I'm thinking, how long have you allowed disrespect to get to you? And this is what I'm talking about. Where's your self-respect? I mean, from what Gus was saying, and it's very right. So every time I speak to you guys, even with me, this is my own metrics. When it comes to women, if I see a woman that is a known gossiper, she's gossiping all the time, it's instant turn off for me. Because once you're gossiping with other people, guess what? You might gossip with what's going on with me as well. So like your gun is not going to be shooting for these people, it's also going to be shooting for me as well. And that's what always has to think. So when it comes to your standards now, and I've been in a situation where if you're chasing someone, you lose yourself because you're chasing what they want, and then you forget what you are. And the thing is, when you're in that position now, and this is where the simp conversation comes in. When you're in that space now, your standards are nowhere to be seen. So one thing about a woman is that if she feels like she can get you in a disrespectful way and she can keep on cutting you down as a man, it's done from there. It's done from there. For me, there's 90% chance of no going back, 10% chance, and that's by the grace of God, you can get back from this if you even stay there. Do you get what I'm saying? So when it comes to self-respect, is what boundaries do you have first? And if obviously we're all not going to go for the perfect woman. Of course, there's no such thing as a perfect woman. We're not perfect ourselves. But when it comes to boundaries, yes, she might have crossed the boundary the first time, but if you set in place the proper way in how to go about it, she should know after that this is not where I should go. If she does it again, then that's the indication that she doesn't respect you. That's when you walk away. So again, I'm asking the guy, where was your boundary? What did you see as disrespect? And why didn't you do anything about it? That's what I'll be asking him.
Let me play a clip for you one more time, so that you can look at it again. Because we played it once. Sometimes you need to watch it a second time to get a full grip of what happened in this clip. Because maybe we'll pick up something else, and maybe you'll see it differently.
You had said some hurtful things to me in the past, and I really took it to heart. I couldn't understand why you would say the things that you would say, right?
Let's hurt people.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Thing.
For years, you tried to communicate how you were feeling. Like you wanted me to see your pain. You wanted me to understand your pain. And because I wasn't open to empathizing or putting myself in your shoes, you went from wanting me to see and understand your pain to wanting to inflict pain. Because when somebody trying to get you to see them, they're trying to get you to understand what they're going through and how bad it's hurting them, and you continue to turn away from them. You don't want to listen. You don't want to take accountability. Then your partner starts to inflict pain. They start to do things to hurt you. They start to say things to hurt you. That doesn't mean that the things that you were doing were right.
Right.
But I had to understand, because we didn't start like this.
Right.
Nobody makes this type of drastic change for no reason.
When you get into those moments where you're just hashing out just blows left and right to just hurt your partner, you have to really sit back and think to yourself, is this what I wanted when I went into my relationship? Is this what I wanted when I went into my marriage? Like, this is not what I seen for myself. I didn't decide that I wanted to marry this man to hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him to feel heartbroken or upset because of my words or my actions. I don't want to add that extra pain to this person for what? I want to love them. I want to take that pain away.
I probably need to watch the whole podcast because it's still not good. It's still not looking good.
You know, I'm glad you said that shit the second time, because he said something and I was just like,
are you serious, fam? I even read the no. I actually was trying to give him grace, but I even read the flipping title this time. I actually read the title. Man explains to wife, like, how treating bad before their marriage. So You mean to tell me you are tolerating the level of disrespect she showed you before you guys were even married? Before you were even married, he saw, and this is what I'm now looking at from a different perspective. The guy is trying to explain away or trying to give so much grace for her disrespect. Again, that's not grace. That is enabling bad behavior. In no way, shape, or form, in her own body language, did she look remorseful at all for any of the parts she played. Not saying that, of course, what he was doing, you know, ignoring her and all of that stuff. But calm, if that was the case, they shouldn't even have been together. They shouldn't have even been together if that's how they started in the initial stage of the relationship. Again, disrespect doesn't just come out of the blue. If she's now saying it's not as if I went into a relationship wanting to disrespect, you shouldn't have even that shouldn't even be your disposition to begin with. If that is how you're carrying off, chances are that's how you are. That's how you carry yourself. And he tolerated it. So it makes me think why he got with her in the relationship in the first place if this is how she was. Like, again, I'm not someone who advocates for people to leave a relationship, but the initial stages of how people carry themselves, character is everything. So to me, that's mad. That's mad. Go on.
No, sorry, Jeff. Sorry, my bad.
Well, it's just mad because to me, I'd only think that you'd only stay in that type of relationship if you're wanting to keep the peace. If you're acting as if it doesn't affect you, like you think that if you somehow are tough enough to tolerate the disrespect, then it will stop. But it will never stop, though. It will never stop. It will get worse and worse and worse and worse. So I don't even know why he decided to even come out and even make this video as if it looks good. It makes him look weak. I'm sorry. It makes him. I don't mean to be mean, but it just makes him look weak in the sense that, because here's the thing, he's talking about how, and she didn't even take an accountability. Now I'm looking at it. She didn't even take an accountability for the things that she did, because he was talking about how it hurt him, and she said her first response is hurt people. No, and that's the thing, she knows that. She knows hurt people. Calm. Why would you say that? Instead of saying, I had no idea that this was, so I apologize, I'm sorry. You say hurt people, minimizing the man's pain as he's coming out being vulnerable. Oh, latter four is no good. It's no good.
I was just going to quickly say, in the video, there's a point where he says, I'm not trying to say that you were wrong. That finished it for me. Because when he says, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong, but he's actually enabling him for her to do it again. Because when she does and disrespects him again, she's going to think back to the explanation that he had in this conversation, and I'm basing on this conversation of what I've heard, of, wait, hold on, if he's understanding it like this, I've got an excuse to do it again. So in that literally that sentence, I said, I'm not trying to say that you are were right, but that's when I just started shaking my head and I was just like, yep, allow me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I've got a slightly different take this time.
Oh, I love that. He said different take.
Bro.
Swing the other side, bro. We don't have a problem. It's good to have a question.
I'm still with Jeff in the sense that the build-up is very important, and how did we get here is a question that will remain even for me. However, I will caveat the whole topic to say this. When they were talking about if pain is being inflicted to you, eventually you start inflicting pain back, right? So he's clearly said he started lashing back. One thing I'm going to say to guys is that when you get into marriage, now that's obviously a different one. Jay's probably able to speak on this more. When you're in marriage, there is no, oh, we're just going to leave tomorrow. Or you vex me today, I'm going to be out. And so when you're looking at this as a man, like the place where I'd put responsibility on men is leadership means leadership in all categories. You can't fight for leadership and then choose to say, I'm not going to be a leader now, I'm going to be a follower. And what I mean by that is when things are getting petty, right? Married people probably be able to comment on this more. Leadership is being the one to put an end to it. You can't start fueling it because, oh, she's doing it, I'm gonna do it too. And that's what I'm like, even for this guy again, I'm like, bro, you're doubly wrong. You're doubly wrong because she tolerated that. And then even in terms of trying to reconcile that, your solution was to start dropping to her level to play her game. That's a further ick for a woman, and you're not realizing that it's an ick. So yeah, you could shout harder. Yeah, you're bigger and stronger. Bro, your muscles could not save you from this torture in the house. It couldn't save you from it. So it's like, bro, leadership means that even when things are going wrong, I can take the hit sometimes. I'm not going to drop to your level. I'm going to put an end to it, and I'm going to show you how problems get fixed. So if you're already in something, man, they might probably say, think about that one. Otherwise, you might be, causing more problems. Number two, bro, this guy's not realizing men treat you differently based on the woman you have. 100%. It changes your perception. And I can say this, even when the first time I met Jay, we'll use Jay again. When I realized who his wife was, I was like, okay, she presented herself very well. She looks like she's a serious woman. Like, you come humbly. Honestly, I'll say that. I'll props to you, props to her. But you see how it made me look at Jay differently. But if she was there at the event and she was doing all kinds of madness, instantly, if you invited me, Kojo, to this, I'll be like, who you with? Oh, I'm coming with Jay. Part of me, I'll be honest, I'll be like, do I really want to come online? Well, how's the show gonna go? I've got all these questions in my mind about my own reputation purely because of bro's choice of his woman. So I think as a man, you need to realize the woman by your side determines what does open or close for you, what networks you build, because men respect men based on their women. And the last point is this: based on what you're allowing or picking, what are you investing in for your future? Because I think he's investing in stress. Because you know what? When you have children, people can only parent based on the values they have. That woman can only parent based on the values she has. What happens if you have 3 girls and they become like your wife? Now there's 4 of them against you in the house. Do you get what I mean? Now your daughters are disrespecting you. Mom is not checking them. Bro, that's your stress times 4. So you have to ask yourself as a man, if this woman was to be multiplied in my household, is it peaceful or stressful? If you know it's stress, just allow it. Leave it completely.
I hear you, Gus. I hear you. Jay wants to say, go for it.
Whoa, do you know what? I don't even remember my points after that. So, okay, because to go back to the prompt about disrespect, right? You know, when Gus is speaking about, as a man, you're basically copying the behavior. You're choosing to respond in the same way. Yeah, we understand the scenario. We understand, okay, how do people get there? We're human beings. But for the men who is listening today or who's going to listen in the future, understand that that point there is a sense where you're likely going to be even more disrespected after that because you've stooped yourself to that level. There's a saying that I used to say years ago on Culture's podcast, and that there's a lot of women that know themselves, which is also why when it comes to a certain type of behavior, there is a lot of minimization. There is a lot of excusing certain behaviors. There's a lot of expecting because you're a man or whatever, you should be okay with it. Toxic behavior is toxic behavior across the board, right? And there's a saying that I have now is that there's a lot of ladies who have become the men that they complain about, and they're treating the men in the same way that they're saying they don't want to be treated. So this is something that we have to bear in mind, that these things may happen depending on who you've chosen, right? But when certain things do happen, how are you then going to respond? And this is the bit that I love that Gus was talking about in terms of leadership. Like, understand, if you respond in the right way, depending on who you're talking to, accountability is going to come faster, and also where the disrespect can go to is going to be minimized. Therefore, the respect is going to be increased, and this happens all the time. This is why, as men, it's very important how mature we need to be in our behaviors. It's very important how we carry ourselves. It's not, when we're grown men, not like boys. So we need to, I'm going to say keep our emotions in check, but I'm not saying pretend they don't exist. What I mean is, you just can't be a boy, right? You can't be all over the place with your emotions. You can't, like, you have to grow up. And this is one of the things that a lot of us guys are missing across 20s and 30s. You have men who are screaming all over the internet about black women because black women are this, black women are that. You know, men who are screaming about certain things. And what it really boils down to is what those types of, like, who those guys are, how they carry themselves, right? And this is where it gets sometimes upsetting, to be honest with you, where we can become passionate, because ultimately, I'm not saying everything is just, you know, blame the guy, blame the guy, but it has to be a level of accountability where we say, yeah, there are women out there who are going to be a certain way. That's a completely separate conversation where we talk about modernity, we talk about how some women are raised or what they have to contend with in this day and age, what they've been through, which has created a certain behavioral identity. That's a separate conversation. But what we can't do is keep throwing a spear or just poking, when it's us that need to step up and do what we need to do, right? And I'm not even saying that applies to every single situation, but this life that we have is about growth. Leadership is about growth. You know, is what we're continuously becoming and what we need to observe and understand. And there is something about a man who reaches a point where he says, I have an unmovable boundary when it comes to disrespect. I think someone mentioned it earlier, an immovable boundary when it comes to disrespect. You are even more happier. Regardless of whatever happens, if the lady decides to walk away, maybe she don't quite understand that what you have is boundaries. It doesn't matter. You are even more happier with yourself. And when it does go the right way as it's supposed to, you will even see, wow, all I had to do is have some balls, have some cojones. All I had to do is kind of understand, what am I supposed to be like as a man? All I had to do is open my eyes and see what is happening in the world, instead of going back to the prompt, instead of simping, instead of trying to win love and win validation. How about I just maneuver myself as a man, do what I need to do, understand my purpose, and therefore whoever I encounter, my communication with them, my observations of them, I need to understand, do they fit into this direction that we're going? Or is she likely going to derail it? Is the conversations that need to have? I still need to vet. Under no circumstances should there be blind tolerance of things that are going to destroy the both of you. Why? Because we are just going to get the blame at the end of the day.
JR, you haven't gone yet. I know, and then I'll go back to Jeff.
Yeah, so like we can go back to the whole leadership aspect on this particular clip, because like when you think about leadership, or when it's usually phrased, people think about leading me, guiding me, leading me into submission and all these different things. But one of the other things is leading your girl, your partner, your wife out of conflict. Yeah, like if she respects you, then when it's time for conflict resolution, she's not trying to butt heads because she respects your opinion. Let's allow it now. Let's done it now. Like, it's time to move on. I acknowledge what you went through. Let's not make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. I'll be the bigger person. Let me apologize. And there are some women who will take issue with any way that you try to deal with it. But at the end of the day, we're judged a lot differently to how women are. So we can't stoop down to a level where we're trying to hurt the person in the same way that they've hurt us. Like, it doesn't do us any favors. We're always going to come out the worst of it. But you have to have a lady that's receptive to your leadership style. And if you don't have that, then what do you really have? In the clip, the guy seems to be acquiescing to the lady to the point where he's trying to just bring the peace, but at the same time, her initial statement was hurt people. It's so matter of fact. And therein lies the problem. Once it gets to the stage where she's matter of fact about how she's behaving towards you, then she unfortunately doesn't respect you enough to listen to you, hear you out, and follow your lead out of the particular conflict that you have. So that's the issue there that I saw. And it's a shame because it's probably quite common in relationships these days to butt heads, and then the lady then expects you to, like, she just crosses her arm and says, well, how are you going to handle this? And as a man, the microscope's on us. How do we handle it? If we stay, we have to obviously put it out there that, listen, this is disrespectful to me, and this is how I think we can resolve the conflict. You know, and if she's not down with that, if she has her own perspective, listen, you know, take on board what she's saying. But ultimately, like most of the gents have said, you also have to think about yourself to a degree and whether this behavior is going to continue to get worse if you continue to let certain behaviors slide.
Okay. Jeff, go for a quick minute response, and then I'm gonna ask a question.
I'll say, and this is specific to men or any guy that's watching this. This is why you cannot be passive when it comes to protecting your peace. Your peace is not the woman's responsibility. I hear a lot of guys like to say that they want a woman to be their peace. A man must lead in creating and cultivating that peace for himself. And more importantly, a man must also check disrespect out the door immediately. How he does it, he has to do it in a way where he's being respectful, but he also has to make sure he does not betray his own boundaries, because when he does that, he gives license for the woman to betray a boundary that he never established for himself. And there is also a need, finally, for men to understand that when you acquiesce to disrespect and acquiesce to things that are immoral, you inevitably become your own you become your own worst enemy. You cannot change a woman who does not want to change herself. All you can change at the end of the day is you, and how you lead in that is you, because you have to lead your own life.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Yes, absolutely. And I love the PSA to the man. So, because we're at the last few minutes of the show, there's obviously a great question that's answered there, and I kind of want to make that into next week's topic, actually, because it's going to be a very good conversation. And the question is, what does leadership look like outside of control? And I think we can touch on that next week, actually, in terms of what that does look like, because I think that is an important subject. Because I know that hearing this topic and hearing how we just spoke about it, there's going to be some men who are going to listen to this and be like, their immediate response is fear, which is going to lead to a control response in terms of going over the top to set boundaries or to, you know, kind of enforce the authority in the situation, which is going to make it go all the complete opposite way as well. So there has to be some conversation around leadership without the outside of the control, which I would say, I mean, the word control is also a very interesting word, because again, we can take it in multiple ways. It's a bit like manipulation. It's not all bad. Sometimes we need to manipulate. You know what I'm saying to you? Manipulation is a skill. It's the way that you wield that particular skill. You know what I mean? But again, that's going to be a very interesting conversation. I do want to hit this last comment, because I think this comment here is a very important comment. I think it's a very important comment, and I'm going to say something wild because the rent needs to get paid. This is why I can't listen to women all the time.
Brother, did that comment mash up your internet or what?
Did you just freeze?
I think YouTube said that this is too much. YouTube said that's enough.
I think the YouTube, like people from YouTube be like, nah, this is entering into red pill territory right now.
Oh my word.
His account is gonna get some strikes.
Well, look, he's got the red light. He's got the red light behind him still. So.
This is a meme. Memeable.
They got him. That is crazy.
Wow. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
You might as well start handling who's in charge now. Is it Jay?
Look, I would have said, look, we can even answer the question, right?
Yeah, no,
before we do that, I'll probably say tread softly in it, because you see we're one man down already in it. So
we're used to this, bro. We're used to this. Trust me.
I was actually going to say towards the comment, and I liked what she said with the comment, because there's two things, right? I'm a PE teacher and I work with primary school children. Now, this is gonna sound wild, but you're gonna have to let me land. The way I see women is the way I see children. When it comes to children, their emotions are very wild. They don't know where to place their emotions. They don't know what to do in certain situations, right? You can never stoop yourself to a child's level to get them to do what you want them to do, because the child will end up disrespecting you even more, right? So what you always do, for me, what I always do with the children now is I tell them what is right and what is wrong. If they get wild, if they get out of their emotions, like what happened even with me today, what you have to actually now do is keep your emotions, keep yourself from getting frustrated, even though you might be frustrated with that certain child, and actually still be that calm, stern though voice saying, no, this is my standard. This is what you're supposed to do in this class. Right. When it comes to women, and I like what she said there, is that when women's emotions, it changes all the time. You cannot change with them, because if you start changing your emotions, you're not stable yourself. And when you got somebody that's not stable and arguing with a person that is also not stable, it's not going to work. And then I always bring it back to God. God has his standard. If God changed his standards for us, we will all be finished today. God keeps his standard. Yes, he has grace. Yes, he understands, but his standard is still there. Because when we fall, we can look at his standard for something that we can reach to. So when it comes to us and our relationships with women, yes, we have emotions. Yes, we can fall sometimes. Yes, that's all true. However, when it comes to women now, what we need to be, and it's kind of like the cliche thing, to be the bigger man in situations. If she wants to go low, you can't go low with her. You have to rise above that. Or you always have to rise above that. Because when you go low with her, you lower yourself, and she in her mind says that, oh, you're doing that. You're going toe to toe with me. I can't respect that. I can't respect that. And this is why I do agree with what Kojo said. You can't listen to women all the time, because women change their what they want all the time. She wants this. She wants her burger. Now she wants fries. Now she wants this. Now she wants that. So listen, you have to have your standard that is firm and solid, and go with that and never shake from that. Stand on business with it, because they will respect that more than somebody that is always on shaky ground.
So sorry guys, I banged my laptop. My laptop, when it's the battery just a little wee, get me. So so what you said is actually really important, because I was going to leave the statement hanging, and you actually explained what my statement is. When I say don't listen to women, what I'm saying to you is the standard is a standard. It cannot be shifted because you got emotional, and I can't shift the standard because now you're making me emotional to shift the standard. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So when I say don't listen to women, that's exactly what I mean. Because it's actually biblical. We see it with Abraham. He shifts. He listens to Sarah, and then we're in trouble. It's the same with Adam. He listens to Eve. We're in trouble. It's not about not listening to a woman across the board. Because some of you people out there who are out there as men, you're going to hear, don't listen to a woman, and that you're going to take it across the board. And you're going to ruin your relationship and ruin any future happiness for yourself. Okay? All right? And then you're going to come crying on the internet saying your wife doesn't sleep with you anymore. It's not my business. But real spit, the key thing of what I was saying is when I say don't listen to women, it means do not listen to her when it goes against the standard. The standard has to be the standard, because both people need to adhere to it. Because if there's no standard, then it's a free-for-all. You know what I'm saying to you? So the same way, and you gave a great illustration, there is nothing we can do to twist God's arm. There's actually nothing. You can whinge, cry, pray harder, fast harder. You can do anything you want, and God's going to be like, well, this is my way that I'm doing it. It's not changing. We're going down this lane, whether you like it or not. And I think as men, we have to take that same approach to things. You know, in your household, the budget is £100 for this thing. We're not doing 101, blood. I know you crying. I know you sad. I know you're emotional about it, but we're doing 100. It's not 101, and I'm not bending because you're going to be disappointed. You have to be okay sometimes as a man being the villain in the story to be the hero in the end. Because anyway, being a hero and living long enough, you'll be the villain anyway. So, my friend, be used to it. That is what I'm saying. Yes, Gus.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree. Number one, I agree with all of this. And the a caveat which I wanted to mention is, as a man, you need to see yourself as a manager. So a manager, like, you're managing everything that occurs. That's the key thing. So I think instead of sometimes boxing people, like what you said, some people might become quite extreme in terms of how they enforce that phrase. You need to see yourself as a manager. So your woman's emotions, they're not necessarily bad. So it's not like every time emotions are coming out, it's like, oh, this is bad. Just follow the standard. You're a manager. And if the vision is there, so I always go back to the vision. If the vision is clear, you need to figure out how to manage the day-to-day to make sure that everything is helping the vision come to be. So if your woman is showing certain emotional responses regularly, you need to pay attention to that as well, because it could be coming from somewhere. It doesn't mean that you have to actually change your pace, but you have to address this emotion somehow. But if you're just saying, listen, the rules are the rules, just be quiet, let's follow the rules, you're not meeting a certain emotional need. So I think that's a key factor that men still have to consider, where you're not now becoming a neglectful guy, you're unemotional. And that's when women start to say, you know, I don't really feel heard, I don't really feel seen. Even if they're wrong, you still need to pay attention to these things. Because when you don't, you end up with 6'8" out there, and he's moving to your girl, she's feeling very seen, and then you're spudding the brother. So I think these are the kind of things that are happening, where it's like, pay attention to the emotions. Even if you're a man, be emotionally available. Otherwise, bro, you're building a house, but there's a hole somewhere in the back door, and that's not going to help you get to your destination anyway.
The additional information on the box is necessary. I love this. The man am adding it. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, just to wrap up, also, definitely in that situation, men have to be the thermostat, not the thermometer, meaning that they set the tone, they set the pace. Leadership is not something that is just done by word of mouth, but also by thoughts and by action. So that also means there has to be a mastery of self. You cannot master another woman's emotions. You have to master yourself and understand that you are the rock. That's what it means. Like, you are basically the rock in the situation when there are storms. So when your woman is also having storms or issues, you cannot allow her emotions to cloud your judgment in terms of the direction that you feel that you both need to go, especially when you have a vision that is put in mind. It doesn't mean that you don't listen to your woman. It doesn't mean that you're not considerate of her emotions. You should be, but you cannot consider her emotions at the cost of yourself, and especially at the cost of the vision that you have for the family. Leadership is not something, it's not about dictating, it's about direction. And a lot of guys get lost in the sauce about that because they love the title that comes along with it. They don't understand there's a responsibility towards it. And you cannot expect your woman to respect you when you don't even respect you. You don't respect how you're moving. You don't respect yourself. So you basically pander in an effort to want to win your woman over when, number one, you've already won. You're now moving from a place of abundance into scarcity when you feel the need to now tolerate disrespect. And God never, and here's the thing, a lot of guys, when they tolerate disrespect, they think they are doing something great. They trade short-term peace for long-term peace. Long-term peace is always going to be better. You may win short-term, but long-term, you're only teaching the woman how to get around you, how to disrespect you, and it's going to get worse, and it's more poison to the mind of a man that does that. And finally, God doesn't get, if we're relating it back to God, he doesn't let us get away with anything. At some point, there's always going to be a reckoning. There's going to be a form of accountability. We get so caught up about grace, which is important, but there's also truth and there's justice. So if we as men continue to play down this part where we're lowering ourselves and lowering our standards in order to appease a woman, that's not the same as understanding that in essence is basically lowering yourself to become somebody that God has called you not to be. So yeah.
JR.
Yeah, I agree. I think Leadership is giving direction. It's not forceful. It's trying to steady the ship and continue down the path that you set for your vision. And sometimes trying to be considerate can be taken too far and can lead to, again, showing a level of weakness or softness, and you can be judged on that too. And once you do find yourself in that space where you're continually being undermined, or your leadership is being disregarded, or your vision or what you see is being shaped in a way where you're no longer able to control it, then you need to definitely reset and align yourself back to your purpose and your goals. And that means you may also need to let go of some cargo just to make your journey a lot easier, you know. And because sometimes the person you're with can be a help or a hindrance. And if it's continuously turbulent, if it's continuously leading to disrespect and back and forths and things like that, it's all a distraction from what your purpose actually is. So taking leadership might be difficult, but at the end of the day, you have to have the trust and faith that where you see your vision is ultimately where you need to be. And you have to have that conviction to be able to see it through until you reach your destination.
Okay, I'm hearing it. Well, Jay, you are our last voice on this. And listen, we're going to go again next week because it's been a good conversation. This was definitely a needed conversation. So you're going to be our last voice. But let me play my little AI clip.
I promise y'all, this is my last word today. You said that last time, Pastor.
It's your last word. Go on, Master J.
As I'm last, I'll give a few different few points. But the first thing I'll say, there's going to be ladies and guys who are triggered by this conversation that we're having today. Not because any of us actually said anything wrong, to be honest with you, but because there is a feeling inside of them that when that feeling comes, that they don't know what to do with. And quite often they have to go on the attack or dismiss or roll eyes or fight, depending on where you're coming from for men and women, right? So one thing I will say about leadership is being able to be okay having those uncomfortable conversations, being able to break it down and say, this is an example of what I'm talking about. And also understanding, although that person may feel uncomfortable in that moment in time, you are not wrong about what you're saying or how you're saying it. And this is something that needs to be put in order, if that makes sense, in order for the ship to continue going to the destination. So that's an overarching thing, right? And there's a lot of people who are not used to men speaking like this without resulting to insults, without, fighting even between one another, who are still able to say what we're saying, but also hold ourselves accountable, especially using the word of God as our foundations, which is very important. So that's that. So I wanted to caveat that, right? So understand, for anyone who's just joined, this is not red pill. Understand there is so much more context to who we are as individuals and together. I say to you, listen from the beginning and listen to other content, especially that Kojo has on his other channel and TikTok, and you get an understanding of who you are. That's where I'm going to lay that. Now, to go back to what Kojo was saying, I'm someone, and I've said this on Kojo's channel for years, I got to a point where I stopped trusting women. Nothing to do with cheating, all to do with how they was dealing with themselves, emotionally, more specifically. Simply because of the consistent contradictions that I used to encounter from saying one thing and then doing another, sometimes within 5 minutes. I remember I was on Kojo's channel, it was a couple of years ago, and there was a lady who was really trying to battle me really just trying to disagree with everything that I was saying. And I understand that the way I am, the way I talk, there are some ladies, especially those who are either used to get in their way or have issues with control. They can easily feel like, oh, let me just challenge Jason and etc. Right? And it got to a point where I started getting annoyed, and I just kind of just stopped. And then Kojo had to come in, and then kind of he supported what I was saying, but he also wanted to kind of settle the situation. And then Kojo asked a question, and that same lady, in her response, contradicted everything that she was fighting me about. Right? And then Kojo had to say this same exact question, guys. This is something to pay attention to. So this isn't just an isolated case. What I'm saying is this is something that was consistent in my life with the types of women that I was choosing, which is a key point, by the way, the types of women that I was choosing, right? And so I got to a point where I didn't really trust women and how they were dealing with themselves. Another aspect to that was when I was inadvertently handing leadership over to ladies, and I don't mean one or two decisions. I mean, well, I thought things or whatever, it don't really matter. Cool. I thought I was just being graceful, misunderstanding what grace is. While I was just trying to be chilled and everything else. I was like, yeah, cool, no problem. What I didn't realize at the time is that every time I did that, the relationship was always doomed. Always doomed. Even so, when I said, all right, I'm tired of this, I'm going to put my foot down, the relationships were also doomed because they were not women who knew how to navigate a man who's going to exert his boundaries, a man who's going to actually lead a relationship. They didn't know how to do that. So then I had to really question, why am I making these choices then? Like, well, what's going on? And that's why I had to kind of address so many things about myself for my relationship with my dad and etc. Right? So anyway, I say that to say, when it came to Adam and Eve, for example, whether you believe Adam was there watching Eve do it or you believe he was around the corner somewhere, don't really matter. He decided to copy Eve and what she was doing. As opposed to Job, when his wife said, you're still trying to hold on to your integrity, curse God and die. Yeah, he corrected her gently. He corrected her fairly without insulting, but he chose not to copy her. And by the way, with everything that was happening, she was valid in her feelings because she wasn't showing any rebellion against God. She was just showing frustration against God in that moment. Some people will become angry at God, especially going through all these types of things, right? But there is something about us as men that have to be different because, as I was saying earlier, the moment that we start to reciprocate, the moment that we start to copy, we start to disrespect ourselves and we increase the disrespect in the household. The moment that we hand over our leadership, these are the things that we tend to do. And in this world that we live in today, it's so easy to do that because everything is kind of logical. It makes sense. You know, oh, men were too much, you know, we're toxic masculinity and all these things. And sometimes as guys, we want to be like, yeah, let's just chill a bit. But we have to understand, even in doing that, even where we have ladies who are fighting for that space, remember talking about invasion of space, that same lady can start saying, yeah, but I don't really want you to do that though. I don't actually want you to take a step back. And I'm fighting you. That's not what I really want though. Even so, they're creating the same situation that they're saying they don't want. What I'm trying to say for the ladies who are listening, just like you notice in men, as men, we also notice the things that you do or say that give room to us, to making us feel like we really need to focus on God and the direction He is trying to take us in. And are you willing to follow what's going on? As opposed to just following what you're doing, just listening to what you're saying gospel. We really need to say, all right, at this table, it's God's table. If we're meant to be at the head of the table, therefore maybe the final decision maker, that's fine, but we're to consider what you're saying and stew on it. That doesn't mean if we make that decision that you are now the leader. It just means that rightfully so, we've what did I say? We've married well. We've made the right choice because who we are consulting with. Ah, sweet. I can trust her. I can trust that the place that she's talking to me from is not from emotion, but it's from sense. It's not from instability. You know, it's not from crazy. It's from wisdom. And this is what we all want. And this is kind of what the conversation is about. It's about wisdom. Another thing I'll say, for ladies, you see a lot of guys as children. Ladies talk about that all the time. And when you said, Sam, straight away, I said to myself, I don't think a lot of ladies actually understand that there is a lot of men who actually see women in the same way. And it's not to say to be insultive, it's just also looking at the behaviors and what the result of those behaviors are. And as men, what we then have to do to console the situation. You know, we've seen it so many times on reality TV. Anyway, I can talk for this for another an hour, but yeah. So this is what I just wanted to say anyway, is that there is an understanding to the question that, or to the statement that Kojo made. And a lot of people would have been triggered instantly because we all laughed about it, right? Red pill coach today. But ultimately, for a lot of ladies, it's actually what they want. They don't want a man who has no backbone, who just listens to everything she says. You know, they want a man to lead. They want a man to listen to guide, to teach, etc., even if it's uncomfortable for them because they're not used to it. You know, so this is where we just need to exercise wisdom in what that means. But ultimately, the last thing I'll say, as men, communicate with your woman and teach. What does that actually look like? Because we'll talk about it next week. That leadership and the things that we're talking about isn't about exerting dominance or control or anything like that. There are so much more deeper things going on. And if that's what you're doing, you need to take a step back because you don't know how to lead properly in what we're talking about. You don't know how to consider your missus. You don't know how to care for her or love her in a way that she feels included as a family in maybe some of the decisions, some of the things, some of the purpose, the direction, right? So there's a bigger thing behind that, but that's what I wanted to say, bro. I'll leave it as that.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, Jay, man. Listen, audience, our time is up. I know I've gone over a few minutes, but you know, it's important to have these kind of discussions. And I think, you know, I trust the man them who come on here because they're sensible. They give a balanced take. They're not trying to, you know, to lambast women or try to put them down. But we are giving honest takes. And so this is going to be a great place to be for the next year coming up in 2026. There's more conversations. And the question that someone posed to us a little bit earlier on, I definitely want to make that a topic next week, which is what does leadership look like outside of control? I think that's going to be an amazing conversation to have because I think this is also about modeling good behaviors and not making it just about do as I say and know and you know, and put up a shut up almost. So I'm definitely going to be having that conversation next week as well. So if you're here, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, subscribing. You've clicked onto the Landlord YouTube podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to that channel as well, and you're involved with the content. We're gonna be back next week with another panel with the man them talking about more relationship stuff going forward. Okay, so audience, thank you very much. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Now you know I ain't gonna leave you without a little AI something because you know me, I do love a good AI video, baby. Okay.
You gotta go, and I don't care where you go, but it just can't be here.
You heard it, man. Ta-ra, ta-ra. Good night.